but again, later than we had intended. Kind of noticing that with a pattern. And it's not Jimbo's fault. Let's all be honest with that. Jimbo is not the guy who's being late here. Is this guy. But there's a lot. There's a lot going on. We got a lot going on. And if you saw the thumbnail for this, one of the big things we're going to be talking about, the state of the New York, New Jersey Metropolitan area football teams is pretty healthy dumpster fire. And I'm going to be honest, if you kind of go outside and smell it right now, it kind of does smell like a dumpster fire. So it's not great. I don't know if that's just Bayonne or if that's the actual Giants and Jets together. I have no idea. Welcome everybody to Stay Tuned Sports. It's your boy King right over here. That's your good friend Jimbo right over there. Man, I always forget I got the new setup here, so I gotta make sure I get the points in there. But thank you so much for joining us on this Wednesday, November 20th. As again, just when you think it just can't get any worse for the New York, New Jersey metropolitan area football teams. Well, let's start with gangrene. Let's start with the Jets. They fired their general manager, Joe Douglas, which, again, to me, and to a lot of people, makes no fucking sense. Especially when you look at how well he did as a general manager. I would hope that their MetLife neighbors, their roomies there, would go ahead and fire Joe Schoen and pick up Joe Douglas, because I'll take Joe Douglas in a heartbeat over Joe Schoen. Because one of them can draft, one of them can't. Guess who's who? Fuck Joe Schoen. But indeed, Joe Douglas was fired by Woody Johnson. And that's just a couple things coming out. There was another report coming out, which just, and I want to get your take on this and how I want to see what your reaction to this is and see if it's near mine or not like mine or whatever. And then we can either agree or fight. I don't know. We'll figure it out once we get it done. But there was a report out that Woody Johnson earlier this year wanted to bench Aaron Rodgers and floated that idea around to the coaches and to Joe Douglas and the staff. What are your thoughts on that coming out about Woody Johnson being like, maybe we bench Rodgers?
When it first came out, when I first saw it, I probably had the same reaction of you, like, you are a dumbass. But as I thought about it, like, when exactly did he start saying that I think we should bench Aaron Rodgers?
I think they said week 3 or week 4, something like that.
See, that's too early. That's too early to even think about, because it is Aaron Rodgers. Now, here we are, week 11 going into 12.
We're going into week 12 now, yeah.
Week 12. If it was like week 8, 9, and your team was on the fringe of being completely done, maybe bench them and just you did everything else.
I'm going to ask you a simple question here. And I would ask this question to anybody else out there. If you want to join us in the chat, chat's open, by the way. Thank you so much for joining us. If you like what you're watching, please hit the like button. Also, if you're not subscribed, please smack that subscribe button right on the ass. Make that son of a bitch jiggle. Help us out here as well. And again, you can let your opinion be known in the chat. Do you think Tyrod Taylor would have given him a better chance to win than Aaron Rodgers at any point in this year? Just at any point in this year, do you think putting Tyrod Taylor in the Jets lineup over Aaron Rodgers gives them a better chance to win?
The only thing I would say about Tyrod Taylor is I think he does give a chance to have that offense be a little bit better because he is slightly more mobile than Aaron Rodgers, so he can get out of
That's not what I asked. That's not what I asked. And I'll do what the lawyers do. Hostile witness, baby. Here we go. Yes or no answer. Does putting Tyrod Taylor in the Jets offense at any point this season help them win games more than having Aaron Rodgers back there? Yes or no?
I plead the fifth.
That's no, you no, 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 no,
I-
no,
I-
no, 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 no,
I-
no, 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 no. This is
I mean,
this is the King's
you
Court,
gotta
baby.
say-
This ain't fucking Congress here, baby. You know what I'm saying? That's not how we roll here. Yes or no?
mean-
Do you think if they put Tyrod Taylor in there, does it give the Jets a better chance to win than having Aaron Rodgers in there at any point in the season?
On paper, no. But till you get out of the field,
That's
you don't
not
know.
the yes or no.
I said on paper, no.
You know, you're adding words. You're adding words. I don't like that. We're adding words
then,
to it.
Then I'll say no, but I want to rebuttal.
Okay, because the answer, the clear answer, is obviously no. The answer is no. Like, listen, I'm glad you got Tyrod. He's a very good backup. He is absolutely great insurance if Rodgers got hurt or anything like that. And Tyrod Taylor is not leading this team to the playoffs. If they put him in earlier, if they put him in later, Tyrod Taylor is, I'm sorry, he's not a starting quarterback in the NFL. He was not going to lead the Jets to victory in this offense in any way, shape, or form. Sure, he's more mobile, but can he still throw the ball or do the things that Aaron Rodgers can do with the ball? Absolutely not. Not even close. That's not even a discussion. So to sit there and say that, well, you know, go put Tyrod in and see what happens. To me, what that shows is Woody Johnson's absolute football imbecility. Like, he has zero idea what's going on in the world of football. He doesn't know how to handle or evaluate anything related to the sport of football. So having an owner like that, but then an owner who also is kind of putting his hands here into the soup, if you will, intermittently, and doing these things, it's like I look at what has happened with this team and how, you know, I guarantee you they kept Robert Saleh because Woody Johnson said what we were going to mulligan last year because of the Aaron Rodgers injury. And I think Aaron Rodgers probably had a lot of that things to do with that as well, saying like, oh yeah, well, you know, I think that's the reason Robert Saleh was there. I bet you Joe Douglas might have gotten rid of him, and they probably should have gotten rid of him.
But wasn't there something else with that report that Woody Johnson said to either Joe Douglas or right to Robert Saleh's face that my brother was the one that hired you, not me? Like, in other words, saying, I wanted you gone a while ago, but I kept you around because my brother hired you.
What brother? What?
I thought I saw something where it wasn't Woody Johnson that did the hiring of Robert Saleh. It was his brother or someone else in the higher ups.
I believe it's general managers generally hire the coaches, from what I...
Yeah, but you know, the owner's got to sign off on
I
it.
don't know. I'd have to look that up. But let me see. Let me take a look at that. But again, continue with your thought because...
Well, you know, and you just said, you know, Tyrod Taylor won't give him the totally different player, just not the other thing. Nick Foles was a different player than Carson Wentz in 2017, and Nick Foles was known as a career backup. But he came in, and they switched the offense a little bit to tailor to his strengths. Who's to say it won't do the same for Tyrod? Now, I mean, obviously the season is gone, so it's pointless now to even.
But what? No. But here's the thing, and this was the problem with the Jets' offense. You know, is the problem wasn't so much with Rodgers' play. Like, it's not that he's playing super poorly, but I mean, he is statistically. You look at it, it's playing bad. But anybody who watches the game, you can see the Jets' offense is high school simplistic. Like, it's so there's no motions, there's no movement, there's no attempt to fool the defense. It's they're line. You can tell when they line up in the formation, this is going to be a pass, and they know it. When they line up in this formation, it's going to be a run, and you know it. That's why their running game has been shit. Their passing game's been shit. They've been able to get no traction whatsoever all year, and it's the base offense of what they have. So putting Tyrod Taylor in a bad offense isn't going to make the offense any better.
But you don't know.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
So did when Kurt Warner stepped in, a guy that
is
was
Tyrod Taylor Kurt
groceries,
fucking Warner?
we
Is
didn't know
Tyrod Taylor
was
Kurt Warner?
Did
It's
you know Kurt
no,
Warner
no.
at that
The
time?
answer, the
Yeah,
answer
there
to
you
that
go.
question,
There you go.
Jimbo,
You said no.
that you're looking for is no. Tyrod Taylor
Thank you.
is not Kurt Warner.
I know, he's
And
not
we
Kurt
know
Warner,
that. We've been
but
able to see him. We've seen Tyrod over the years. We know that's not him. So
But you just don't know.
I'm just pointing that
never
out
know.
there. And then on top of it, like you look at what Joe Douglas has done in the draft, and you know how I feel about the draft.
Yeah.
It is a crapshoot. It's an absolute gamble. Draft picks to me, draft capital is fucking meaningless. Doesn't mean anything. Has never meant anything. So people who always lose their shit and just start stroking off of, oh, we got a number 1 pick. Oh, it's so great. Oh, we got a number 2 pick. Oh, we're going to draft. How many draft picks we get? Oh, we got 3 picks for that one guy. It means nothing. Draft picks mean jack shit. In my opinion, like I said, because it's a fucking crapshoot.
Yes.
But looking at what Joe Douglas has done in the draft, the Jets have drafted so many more hits than misses.
Yeah.
Yes, Mekhi Becton, miss. Absolutely. And anybody will tell you that. Zach Wilson, miss. Okay, we get that. But Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall, who is it? Quentin Williams? Like, come on!
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. I mean, this guy, banger after banger after banger after banger. He was fucking pulling them out there. First round, second round, third round, fourth. I mean, he was getting all the late rounds too. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
his 2 top picks there that he had early rounds there with Zach Wilson and Mekhi Becton. Yeah, didn't work out. Yeah, that's a myth. That's the draft, baby. That happens. But when you look at the work that Joe Douglas put together there for the draft, like we're talking well over 65, 70% of a hit mark, at least for the Jets, as far as having talent still on the team, retained on the team, and who have contributed to the team.
Yeah.
In a significant way. You know, you remember, the Jets had both the offensive and defensive rookie of the fucking year.
Yeah.
With Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner. You know what I'm saying? So, and now you're Woody Johnson, you get rid of him. Who the fuck are you going to replace him with? And what are you going to, like, all this tells me, and we'll see if you feel the same way. What this tells me is, you know, we saw the report that Aaron Rodgers says he'd like to come back for a 3rd year, and like to do something like that. That's not happening. The Jets are blowing it up. They're saying, nope, fuck it all. We're getting rid of everybody. Everybody we got, everybody like that. It doesn't matter. Oh, Sauce Gardner. Oh, Garrett Wilson. Everybody, get rid of them all. Starting from square one. And I'm not sure that's the way to go. If you know, you still have a lot. You still have Sauce. You still have Garrett. You still have Breece still on rookie contracts. That'll still be a rookie contract next year. You'll have to start looking about adding that 5th-year option. You have to make that decision soon and do all that stuff. But I mean, you still have some pieces you can bring back. Yes, you're not going to be able to bring back everybody. Yes, you're going to have to work things out that way. And now with the new GM, but you know, it feels like you can get another ride if you get a new coaching staff in there, if you get rid of fucking Nathaniel Hackett, if you do all that kind of stuff. And yes, draft a quarterback. Or if you have, you know, Travis Jordan or whatever hell his name is there from Florida State that you have, who's still, I think, rehabilitating from his injury. See what he can do. Or have something like that. But it feels like you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater here if you're the Jets. And it's just going to be now another 5 years before you're even close to being competitive again. Again, I'm not sure if I agree with the move from Woody Johnson here. And it starts to bring up the conversation, is Woody Johnson, has he sneakily become like one of those owners, like just a really bad owner for a team and can't seem to get any traction with this team. And it seems like, to me, it seems like Woody Johnson, he stays out of it mostly, but when he does meddle, it's at the absolute wrong time and it's with the absolute worst things to do. Like, it seems like he's right there at the points where it would be so much better if he just wasn't there.
Yeah.
And like if he did other shit at other times, I don't think it would be as bad. But he always seems to find the right moment to fuck things up. I think personally that this moment of getting rid of Joe Douglas, I think that's a bad move. I think that's 1,000% a bad move.
Well, I mean, whether he was going to get rid of him now or later. Well, first off, with Joe Douglas, when you were talking about the hits on in the draft and everything like that, I don't know if it was Schefter or one of the other ones, and they said that about how he's been very good in drafts, but didn't figure out the quarterback position. I forget if it was last year or the season before. The percent of quarterbacks making in the NFL is like 10% out of
Not
all the
right, and that's it. Like you see, most of the first round draft picks are. It's something like maybe 30% end
yeah
up still with their team and for after their first contract or in the
yeah
league after their first contract or even in the first 3 like it's such a crapshoot, which is why I feel the way I do about the draft. When everybody gets so excited and lathered up about the fucking draft picks, it's like you're excited about what is most likely going to be a miss
yeah
and a what is a draft bust. I can't like that's why draft capital doesn't mean anything. If you can get something tangible, a veteran, or even like a younger kid that might have a contract coming up, get something like that if you can. See if you can get value for value. Draft picks, some people see them as value, but if you don't have a good draft, like that's the thing with the Giants. And I want to jump over to Giants quick too, but I'll let you finish with your point. But just quickly, like people are very excited. Oh, the Giants. Oh, they're going to put in Tommy DeVito, and he's going to ruin the Giants draft pick. He's not going. The Giants. He's going to win games, and now the Giants aren't going to have that high of a draft pick. We have Joe fucking Shane, and if you want to talk about the anti-Joe Douglas, it's Joe Shane, because here's somebody who can't draft for shit. Look at every single one of his draft picks. Who's worked out? Who's worked out? Nobody. Not a one since he's taken over from Gettleman.
Oh, that's
and
right.
Gettleman wasn't the best either.
I was thinking Dexter Lawrence, but he was Gettleman.
Yeah, Dexter Lawrence was Gettleman. So this is what I mean. Like Joe Shane's done nothing. And Mara's going to let that motherfucker keep a job? He's going to let fucking Brian Daboll keep a job?
Yeah.
Granted, now the Giants are a team that needs to do what it seems like the Jets are going to do, which is a full blast out the ass enema and start over and redo everything. Like that's what it seems like the Giants that's what the Giants need to do, and they're not.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Jets seems like they could retool for next year and see if they can give it another shot with a new coaching staff and everything like that. And they're not. They're blowing everything out and saying, "Oh, let's suck for another 5 years and see if that'll fix it." And,
Well, like to kind of go back to what I was saying about with Joe Douglas too. He had to go no matter what because I don't agree. I don't agree with the full. Let's blow everything up. Maybe, you still keep Garrett Wilson, still keep Sauce Gardner. Those two pieces you build around on defense and offense. You find a good quarterback for Garrett Wilson. Because Aaron Rodgers has no money. He's not owed any money next year, so he's gone.
No, it seems like this is. Oh, I want to come back next year. It's going to be like that's great. You want to come back next year, but it's not going to be here.
Yeah.
That seems to be what Woody Johnson is saying.
But I wouldn't tear it all the way down. And if you're going to have a new quarterback, it's going to be a new head coach, which the GM is going to want his coach. And I just don't think Woody Johnson was. Well, obviously Woody Johnson wasn't keen on Joe Douglas anymore. One coach we know is not going to go to him is Bill Belichick. I just love how he's always.
Well, no, I mean Bill hates the Jets. He's always hated the Jets. He's
yeah.
And that was I don't think it's so much the Jets. I think it's Woody Johnson. Because that was it. I believe Woody had just taken over the team when Bill Parcells left, and kind of like. Because when Bill left, there was like an automatic contract trigger that made Belichick the head coach in the contract. And that was it. Belichick, 30 minutes later, on a napkin, wrote, "I resign as head coach of the New York Jets." And sent that in. I was like, I'm not fucking coaching here. I'm not dealing with this. I'm not dealing with him or anything like that. So maybe Bill knew something. But it's to me, you're firing Joe Douglas is the wrong move. It's very hard to find a good general manager in football these days, and to do that when like again, you have somebody there who's got a little bit of a gift when it comes to drafting. And again, like I said, you know how I feel about drafting, but here's somebody who apparently knows how to evaluate talent, knows good people, and he put together a great fucking roster.
Yeah.
Like Joe Douglas the Jets on paper should be fucking great. I think it's the coaching staff that was there. Robert Saleh should have been gone at the end of not just 2023, but 2022 he should have been gone too. Yeah. Even before the Aaron Rodgers experiment started, and he only lasted 4 plays there in 2023. But he should have been gone then, and at the very latest, he should have been gone at the end of last year. But they fucking held on to him. And the thing with listen, I that would have been one of the first things I said to Aaron Rodgers. Like, listen, I'm glad you're friends with Nathaniel Hackett, but that motherfucker's got to go.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, like, he's just not a good coach. And I'm glad, again, I think it wasn't so much Nathaniel Hackett in Green Bay, it was LaFleur, and that Hackett was just the intermediary between Aaron Rodgers and LaFleur that kind of helped smooth that relationship. Because Nathaniel Hackett fucking sucks.
He can't hack it.
I knew you were going to do it. I knew you were going to do it, you son of a bitch. Hamster in the chat says, "What's up?" He says, "Danny DeVito gonna ball out there for the Giants." Happy birthday, Danny! By the way, just turned 80 years old. Danny DeVito. We love Frank Reynolds there, and all his other iconic roles from Taxi and Twins. And was he in Cheers? No, he wasn't in Cheers.
He was in Cheers.
Was he in Cheers?
He was a bartender.
No, I
think that's where him and the girlfriend started dating.
No. Rhea Perlman was in Cheers, but not Danny.
No, I know Rhea Perlman was.
Yeah, no, Danny DeVito wasn't in Cheers. He had Ted Danson, Shelley Long, and then obviously Kirstie Alley. Yeah, but he wasn't in Cheers. Maybe as a guest spot, maybe one time, but yeah.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I swore I saw him on that show.
No. That's what I mean. That's not what that is. But anyway,
God, he's
yeah.
doing a lot of stuff.
Happy birthday, Danny. But yeah, no, Tommy DeVito, old Tommy Cutlets, the Goomba Gunslinger. I had another couple of derogatory names. I asked my Italian sister-in-law, I was like, which one might be more offensive or not? She said, stick with the Goomba Gunslinger. Yeah, like that. Of the ones I had out there, apparently that was the least offensive to the Italians. Yeah. But Italians don't get offended that easily. They're very. I mean, I know a lot of Italians. They're very fine. They're fine, upstanding citizens. I did. I think one of them was the Dago dime dropper. Like, I'll make a shirt like that. The winning wop. Anyway, yes, no. The Giants have again benched Daniel Jones.
Not even just benched, just basically kicked him out of the.
Yeah, he's not even. I believe he's the emergency quarterback now. They don't want him anywhere near the field, obviously, because if he gets injured, they do owe him $29 million in a injury clause for next season. So they're kind of pulling a Russell Wilson with him and saying like, just sit the fuck down. We don't want you. We don't want you anywhere near the field. Don't breathe there. And again, it's the best thing for him. It's the best thing for the Giants, for both of them to move on from each other. I think Daniel Jones is going to do a lot better wherever he ends up after this. Obviously, clearly he's going to be back up somewhere first, but get to a good place with a good quarterback room, good coaches, and kind of just absorb for a year, rehabilitate your football self and your confidence, and realize that that he has the skills and the ability to do so, and then maybe he gets a chance somewhere else, because there's always going to be an open spot somewhere in the NFL, and I think he can do that. I do still believe in Daniel Jones to be a good quarterback, but it can't be here, and I don't think it's so much his fault, as we've said before, as even Mara said. The Giants are a top-down bad organization.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about how the Jets are a dumpster fire. The Giants are right there with them. The Giants they don't know their ass from their elbow. They don't know which way's up. The general manager is garbage. Our coach is again, trying so hard to be the smartest guy in the world. Look at all these cool things I can do. And he keeps on trying to fit square pegs in the fucking round holes. And it always blows up in his face. And meanwhile, he's like, he doesn't work with the roster and the talent he has. He's trying to think that he's got something bigger or better than what he has. If only I had these pieces, I could work so much better. And it's like, okay, that any coach can fucking do that if they had all the great pieces. Your job is to make the pieces you have look great. And he can't do that. And we know that. But we're going to be fucking stuck with him for another goddamn year. So, yay! Fuck Brian. And to see people fucking suck his ass. Oh, Brian Dable's a good coach. Really? What about Brian Dable says he's a good coach? I want to hear what people say. I want to know what people are seeing and what they're fucking watching that says Brian Dable's a good coach. And I saw it today again on fucking GPS with Grassi and Perna when they were fucking talking about it. They were talking about, yeah, Brian Dable, I wouldn't want to see him get fired. He's a good coach. Really? Why? I want one of those guys to fucking come on and say, why? What makes you say, in the games you've watched, if you've watched any, with the New York fucking Giants, makes you think that Brian Dable's a good fucking coach? What about him says good coach? Is it the fact that he left his injured kicker on the roster without putting a backup when he had an open roster spot to put the backup on? Cost us that game? Would it be, I don't know, the play calling against the Cowboys which cost us the game when all he did was 5-yard curls to Wan'Dale fucking Robinson and wouldn't fucking go any deeper than that? After, again, you can see the Giants could go deeper when they beat Seattle. They beat Seattle that way. If you would have done that with Dallas, we would have won. Dable's play calling has cost the Giants 5 wins, but yet you still have people like that on YouTube. And listen, I love those guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this, but on this particular point, they are wronger than wrong. 1,000% wrong. Saying Brian Dable's a good coach? Why? Show me the evidence that he's a good coach. Yeah. Show me any evidence that he's a good coach. He's not.
The only thing I could think of is that they're stuck on 2022 and what he did, and also what he did with Josh Allen. But that's in the past. You gotta be able to coach in the present.
This is what I mean. But even with that Giants team that made it to the playoffs, when Daniel Jones had the best year of his career, when you had Saquon Barkley, who actually didn't get injured that year, so he was somewhat effective. The Giants I think the Giants started 7-1, and we ended up 9-7-1. So that second half of the year, we fucking collapsed. Where's the great coach there? Yeah. Where's the man who can make adjustments? Where's the guy who can do? It's not there. Brian Dable is not is he a great coordinator? Sure, I'd have him as an offensive coordinator. As long as you have a good quarterback that can make him look good, sure. If you have a Josh Allen, absolutely. But you need him to develop somebody. You need him to call the plays and to make adjustments and to work with the talent that he has. He can't do it. He can't do it. And I've watched enough Giants games to fucking understand this. And fucking just see, like, you see Boomer Esiason on fucking WFAN sucking his ass. You see the shit that I saw on GPS today where, fucking Tom and Brandon are fucking sucking his ass. And it's like, he's not a good coach. Oh, he's a good coach. I'd hate to see him get fired. I think he's a good coach. Really? What are the Giants in the last 2 fucking years had made you say, yeah, no, he's a good coach. Yeah, no, Brian Dable can fucking do it. What? Please, show me the fucking evidence of Brian Dable being a good coach. Anybody.
I mean, the few games I watched with you, like, I felt the same way. Like, some of the play calls, even I was scratching my head, and I got Nick Sirianni as a head coach. But maybe you'll have Aaron Rodgers as your starting quarterback next year.
Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't do that. But here's the other thing too, and I even said it during the countdown yesterday, which you can go watch right here on the Stay Tuned Sports channel if you want to go search around our videos in the live section. It'd be very nice. By the way, chat's open, everybody. If you want to come in and say hi, say hello, tell me I'm wrong, tell me Brian Dable's a great coach, come on in the chat, tell me I'm wrong. Please show me the evidence. Please provide me the evidence that Dable's a great coach. But like I was saying in the countdown, the last couple of weeks, Nick Sirianni has not been Nick Sirianni. He's pulled back on his Sirianni-ness.
Yes.
And, like, again, even when his kicker wasn't kicking well, he still went for extra points. He still went for the 3 points when he was supposed to. And, yeah, it didn't work out. But we're all like, oh, he missed it. He's never going to, kicker's never going to see the field again. And he did. And then the kicker ended up making extra points. And he ended up making a field goal. And it ended up being good for the Eagles. And it's like, at least he's learning. At least he's like, all right, I maybe went a little crazy with the 2-point conversions and the fourth downs and all that kind of shit. So, Dable hasn't learned from that. He's still trying to do, on a 3rd and 1, do a fucking flea flicker. And people want to yell and scream about, oh, well, Daniel Jones should have thrown the ball. I'm not arguing that. Probably yes. But also, you're talking about a guy who's got fucking beyond PTSD. And why are we going for a flea flicker on 3rd and 1? Yes, if it's, 3rd and 7 or maybe 3rd and 10 and you're trying to get a big play after something, sure. But you're 3rd and 1. You're 3rd and 1. And you're struggling against the fucking Panthers team. Tyrone Tracy's been running the ball great. That's the other thing, too. He keeps on trying to fucking feed Singletary because, as we saw in Hard Knocks, he loved Singletary. He wanted to bring Singletary in because he had him in Buffalo, and then when Singletary went down to Houston, and then he got Singletary to come up to the Giants. So he's been trying to push Singletary. Yeah. I hate to tell you, Singletary, not working. Singletary doesn't work as a running back for the Giants. He hasn't. Tyrone Tracy has done great. But what do we do in the last game? Every time you start getting momentum, they start giving it to Singletary again. And yes, I know Tyrone Tracy fumbled on the first play in overtime, but if you kept on feeding him in the game instead of Singletary, maybe there's not an overtime to fucking deal with, huh, Brian? How about that?
Yeah.
How about that, Brian? So all the people that are just sucking Brian Dable's fat Ozempic ass, I want you to give me your case in watching the Giants over the last 2 years. Show me where Brian Dable has exhibited good coaching behavior, where you've gone and you can point to that and say, you know what? That's a good coaching move. You know what? Leaving a backup kicker off your roster when your kicker that you have in there right now, however, he has a pulled groin and it's coming back and it's still very sore and it's very questionable, and you have an open roster spot, but instead you just go into the game with 52 players and not having that 53rd spot filled by a backup kicker. I want you to come to me and tell me why that was a great coaching decision. Why? Where was I want to know the football genius that I'm missing out of this. What part am I missing? Educate me. This is what I want to say. To Tom Grossi, to Boomer Esiason, to Brandon Perna, to 5 Point, to anybody out there, all the YouTube guys, all the mainstream media guys, everybody out there. And I know I'm yelling in the wind because nobody fucking watches me, but this is my chance to just vent for a second, so please fucking bear with me. I want anybody to educate me, my dumb casual football ass. And that's what I am. I'm just a fucking fat dude who likes to sit and drink and watch football, mostly in a bar. Now I do it on YouTube, but still, that's all I am. I don't aspose to be a fucking football genius. I'm not going to say I'm ever going to be a great NFL head coach. I'm not. I know that. I am who I am. But I want somebody to come to me and show me all these things that I've pointed out. And that's just from this year. We can go back to last year and fucking look at that shit too. Come to me and show me where I'm missing the football genius here. Where am I missing? That was just a great coaching move. What was the great coaching move about not having a backup kicker there? Where's the football genius of Wan'Dale Robinson 5-yard fucking curls instead of attacking the Cowboys? Where is that? Where's the genius?
Yeah.
Because even if Daniel Jones can't throw the football, and he's not that great, at least try and at least put your players in position to do what he can do. And put other players there. And again, like we saw in the Seattle game, he can throw the ball down. He can throw the ball more than 20 yards and connect with people. And let's also not forget the Giants receivers have been dropping a shit ton of balls. So there is plenty of blame to go around for why the Giants suck. I'm not letting Daniel Jones off the hook. He has played not great. I'm not saying that. But again, I think that kid's confidence has been fucking destroyed for a long time. But there is plenty of blame to go around with that Giants receiving core, with the Giants defense, how they let the fucking Panthers just carve right through them, and especially with the Giants fucking coaching staff, starting with Brian Daboll. And it all starts, to me, from the top with old Shaney boy up there, Joe Shane. So I want anybody out there, everybody clips this and send this to somebody and say, oh, they're talking shit about you. I'm not talking shit on anybody. I'm not talking shit on Tom or Brandon or fucking... I might talk shit on Boomer. Fuck Boomer. Boomer's been pissing me off lately. Plus, he's a Ranger fan, so go fuck yourself, Boomer. But I'm not talking shit on anybody. I'm not saying this to be mean or, I'm causing... that's not what I'm doing. It's that old radio shtick. I'm not fucking doing that. I love those guys. I watch them every day. They're very good. I aspire to be them. I'll just say that. So this is not a disrespectful thing. That's not anything like I want to make sure that's known as well. But educate me is all I'm saying. Educate me on why Brian Daboll is such a great football coach and such a football genius, and what of his coaching and decisions he's made this year. What has he done that I'm missing? That I'm just not seeing. My casual football observing self is just not picking up. That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know. Educate me. Make me smarter. Make me a better football fan. And make me understand how Brian Daboll is a good coach. That's all I'm going to say. That's all.
And if you want to, put them in the comments. You can
put them in the comments. Again, the chat is wide open if you want to come do that. If you're watching this video after the live and you want to leave a comment in there, go right ahead. And again, let me know and say whatever you'd like to. Hamster in the chat is saying he's clipping this and sending it to Boomer. That's fine. But I'm just gonna go around in circles here. So I got to stop at some point. I do have to stop at some point. Hamster, he's also going to send it to the Giants front office. Well, that's not going to do any good.
Yeah, obviously they can't watch videos. Obviously, Hamster. I would say crimson red.
I'm not crimson yet. Let's not,
You're getting there.
I'm not crimson yet. But speaking of crimson, the college football playoff, the bracket and the rankings were both released yesterday. And let me pull this up because I had it up here. I had it somewhere. Do I not have it again? I thought I had it, and now I think I lost it. Okay, no, here it is. Now I have it. Okay. So we have the ranking from the College Football Playoff Committee, and then we have the bracket. And those are two separate things. And I think that's something that a lot of people have brought up is kind of confusing.
Yeah.
So, because you have the rankings where they're ranked, like they usually are 1 to 25 and all that kind of shit. And then you have the bracket, which, again, goes by who's leading the conferences and, or who would be, quote unquote, the conference champion at this point, and then how the other seeds fall because of that. And so it's like, when you see the top 25, 1 through 12 is not necessarily who's going to be in the playoffs. So, with that being said, I want to take a look first at the rankings, and then we're going to take a look at the bracket. But we have the rankings here first, where we have Oregon is number 1, as we know, undefeated, 11-0. Ohio State number 2 at 9-1, Texas at number 3 at 9-1, and Penn State at number 4 at 9-1. So in the top 4, we have 3 Big Ten schools.
Okay.
And then if you want to go to the top 5, you throw Indiana in there, who also is 10-0. They got Ohio State coming up this Saturday. That's going to be a fucking shindig, baby. So then in the top 5, you have 4 Big Ten schools. So right now, Big Ten running college football according to the rankings, with Texas the only SEC team up there. And then you have Notre Dame at number 6. The next SEC school doesn't come up until you get to the Crimson Tide, which was not the color of my face, so relax. They're at 7. Miami at 8 at 9-1. Mississippi, Ole Miss, if you will, at number 9. Georgia at 10. Tennessee, after their loss, is down to 11. Boise State currently leading the Mountain West at 12. SMU at 13 at 9-1. BYU, who suffered their first loss against Kansas, they're at 14. Texas A&M 15. Colorado 16. Clemson 17. South Carolina 18. Army up to 19th. They're looking to go ahead and see if they can start squeezing their way into the conversation, and they can go a long way with that with a victory over Notre Dame this Saturday. at Yankee Stadium. Tulane, the Green Wave. I love the Wavy Boys. I love that logo on the helmet. They are 20. They again clinched a AAC championship game matchup with Army. So that is going to be the conference for the American Athletic Conference. Arizona State up to 21. Again, they're starting to make a push to maybe be in the conversation for a Big 12 title game. And again, if you win the title game, even if you're not that great or not that highly ranked, you win a title game, you're in.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Again, Arizona State there at 21, Iowa State at 22, Missouri 23, UNLV 24, and the Illinois Fighting Illini at 25. So that's your top 25 according to the College Football Playoff Committee. Hamster says Bama winning it all. Pause.
Yeah.
Relax.
I was about to kick him out of this chat, but the other one
Don't. No, we love Hamster. We're not going to get Hamster out. He's had a rough week. Though, listen, his Falcons had a rough weekend. He had a rough week, you know. He was asking where we were on Sunday and Monday night. Where were you during the afternoon? I was sitting there doing a game, and I was like, where's Hamster? Why isn't he coming into the chat? Why isn't he there?
I had no backup to egg King on.
I think SMU definitely has a shot. I think SMU better than a shot. SMU, I think, is going to end up in the playoff. I really do. Yeah. Playing in the ACC there, I just can't buy into Miami. I don't. No. They've been bad. To me, they've just been real bad. So let's jump over. I want to take a look at the bracket now. And again, here's something that I was spending all day kind of doing, which is why we're a little bit late. But I love graphics. I love doing art and graphics and stuff. It's so great. Anyway, here's the bracket that it is currently set up for the college football playoff. Now, this is where we're going to go, where we see things a little bit differently, because here you have Oregon number 1, which makes sense. That's what they have there. Number 2 here is Texas, though. Obviously, number 2 ranked is Ohio State. But they're Big Ten too, so they can't also be there because the top 4 spots go to the top 4 ranked conference champions. So Texas is number 2. Miami currently leading the ACC at number 3. And now at number 4, getting a bye because of BYU's loss, even though they're leading the Big 12, the rest of 5 conference representative, Boise State, at number 4. So right now, if the playoffs were to begin today, Boise State would be getting a bye coming out of the Mountain West. That would be wild.
Yeah.
That you would have a rest of 5 getting the bye over a Power 4 conference. So those are the 4 that are right there for the byes. Then you look at what the matchups would be right now, if we see. You start off with number 12, which would be the Big 12 champion as it stands right now, BYU, against Ohio State, who would be ranked number 5. Again, they're ranked number 2, but I mean, not ranked seeded. They're seeded number 5, even though they're ranked number 2. So that's how we go. But it would be BYU taking a trip out to the Horseshoe. Then you would have the 8-9 matchup, which would be Alabama making a trip to South Bend to play Notre Dame in South Bend, Indiana in December. Let's go. I would love that. That would be a great matchup. I would love that. Then you would have the 11-8 matchup with Georgia traveling to Happy Valley to play Penn State there at Beaver Stadium. And then the last one here right now, as it would stand, Ole Miss making a trip up to Indiana, to Bloomington, to play the Indiana Hoosiers, the surprising Indiana Hoosiers. Now, again, this is not how it's going to look at the end of the year because there's so much still going on. Again, you have Indiana versus Ohio State still to come. You're still going to have the Big Ten championship game, which is going to be Oregon versus either Indiana or Ohio State, depending on who wins that game. And it might even be even because does Ohio State have one loss or two? They have one. Okay. Yeah, so so it is going to come down to. Really, this is kind of a playing game for the Big Ten championship game when it comes to Ohio State and Indiana. So big game coming up there. So that's still a lot to determine there. We'll see what happens with the Big 12. We'll see what happens with Boise State. We'll see what happens with Notre Dame and Army. Does Army find a way to squeak in? Does Notre Dame fall out if they underperform there at Yankee Stadium? or are they going to maintain the momentum that they have? What's going on with the SEC? Will Texas remain at number 2? All that stuff. Jimbo, what are your thoughts as we're here? I think this is the third release of the brackets and the CFB rankings. What are your thoughts?
I mean, they released this as we were doing our Tuesday show there, and when I saw Bama versus Notre Dame, I started twitching. I have PTSD from 2012. Eddie Lacy just running all over us. I mean, that will be, on paper, would be a good game. Like you said, December. I just hope that there's snow. That'd be even better.
Oh, what a great game.
Yeah. Georgia Penn State, I think, is another good game because James Franklin can't win the big ones. And even though Georgia's not playing like Georgia lately, this season, it would be a big win for him.
I think Georgia would go up there and fucking mutilate them. I think they go up there and they mutilate them. 1,000%.
I think so too, and I kind of hope so because fuck Penn State. The only blowout here I think would be BYU and Ohio State. I think Ohio State would blow them out just because BYU's
been hanging on for a while, but that's what I mean. Does BYU even get there? This is what I'm saying. My question is more not so much how does this bracket look, but where do you think the bracket goes from here? Like, what do you think happens this weekend? What do you think? Are we feeling upsets? Do we think Indiana beats Ohio State? Does Ohio State beat Indiana? And if that happens, does Indiana still get into the playoffs or not? Does Indiana get knocked out? Do they throw in another SEC team? Do we see any other random upsets here that might happen? What do we think? Because again, I think the Big 12 is still wide open. Now that BYU is lost, I think you have Arizona State in the conversation, especially just to get to the championship game at least. Iowa State, I think, is back into it as far as getting back into the championship game there in the Big 12. And then that's it. Once you're there, anything else like that can happen. Yeah. Where do we feel this is all going in your mind? Where's the SEC going? Right now, Texas is leading, but has Texas played anybody is a question. They got to play Texas A&M at the end of the year, and then if they do get that and get all the way to the end, they got to play in the SEC championship game. Who are they going to play there? Where is that? I think there's a lot. There's a lot.
Here's what I would say. Whoever loses between Indiana and Ohio State this week will not make the playoffs. BYU.
You don't think they're going to have Ohio State in the playoffs?
I think it's going to be a lot tougher to put them in there with 2 losses compared to some of the other teams that either are undefeated or have one loss.
Okay, but here's the question that people are going to say. Yeah, Ohio State's going to have 2 losses, but who are the 2 losses going to be to?
Indiana, which is people are like, well, who do they play? Who have they played?
Okay, that's you're missing. Their losses will be to what will be basically the number 1 and most likely either number 2 or number 3 team in the country.
Yeah, but you lost to Indiana.
Who's the number 2 team in the land? If they do that, if they beat Ohio State, Indiana's probably going to be number 2.
I just think Ohio State. If Ohio State loses, they won't make it.
I don't think Ohio State. They will not leave Ohio State out, especially if that's their 2 losses. Ohio State's not getting left out. Ohio State is not getting left out.
They will be this year's Florida State. They'll be that last spot. Oh, see that we need 18-team playoff because we should have been in there. And BYU,
whether you think
I don't think.
But here's going to be my rebuttal to that. Whether you think that should happen, do you think that will happen? My viewpoint is whether you think they should be in or not at 2 losses, they're going to be. Because their committee's going to look at it and say, they're a Big Ten team, their 2 losses and it depends on how they lose, too. If they get blown out by Indiana, fine. But they lost to Oregon in, a 1.2-point game?
Yeah.
And if they lose a close one to Indiana, let's say, 3 points or less, you're going to have lost to the number 1 and number 2 team in the land by a combined 4 points or less, 4 points, 3 points. They're going to look at that and say, Big Ten team, big market, very good team. They're not going to leave them out because then who do you put in their place?
Well, so
you're not going to put in. You're not going to put in an SMU team that if SMU loses to Miami or if SMU doesn't make it to the championship game or loses the championship game, they're not going to put them in over Ohio State. They're
No.
looking for best teams.
So let's
And
say, and this is more of a fill me in here type scenario. Ohio State loses when the final playoff bracket is about to come out. They're ranked number 12, and we said about Army Navy. Uh, if they win if Army wins the championship there, they could possibly get bumped in. So Ohio State technically
the only way Army can get in, the only way Army gets in is if Boise State loses.
Okay.
If Boise State loses and Army goes on undefeated and wins the AAC against Tulane, they're playing Tulane in the championship game.
Okay.
So they have to beat Notre Dame, and then they have to play. I don't know if they have another game after that, and then they have to play the AAC championship game. So if they do all that, if Army ends up undefeated, if Boise State still only with their one loss, which is a very close loss to Oregon, if they're still haven't lost another game, and it doesn't look like they're going to, Army's still not going to get it.
Okay. Because I thought like if you won a championship, you could bounce one of these other non-champions out of.
No, because you'd have to have the ranking up there, and you'd have to see how the committee wants to place you. Because that's the thing is the power four conferences have the automatic bid.
Yeah.
They automatically get it, and then the highest ranked group of 5 champion gets in. So it doesn't matter if Army wins the AAC. If Boise is still ranked higher, Boise gets in.
Goes in. Okay.
Because they'll be the higher ranked of the rest of 5 champions.
Okay.
So like when you like because that's what we see here right now. You have Tennessee is ranked 11th, but they're one of the first ones out of the playoffs because you have Boise State in there who is ranked 12th, but they're a champion, so they're there. BYU is ranked 14th, but they're currently leading in the Big 12. So if they were theoretically to be the champion, they would get in. Even though they're ranked lower than Tennessee, they get an automatic bid because they're leading one of the Big 4, the Power 4 conferences. So they automatically get in, which is why they're seeded 12th. They'd be the last seed, but they get that.
Okay.
Which is the thing. If BYU were to suddenly be ranked ahead of Boise State, BYU would go from 12th to 4th, and Boise State would go from 4th to 12th.
Yeah.
When it comes to the seeding. So again, it depends on who gets automatically bid. And this is why, when it comes to the championship games, if somebody gets upset, it can cause so many problems. Because, like I said, if you have, I don't know even who would Texas be playing in the SEC championship game at this point. Maybe would it be Alabama or like I don't know how do they have the division still in the SEC or did they get rid of those? Because I know a lot of places got rid of them.
Yeah, like if you go on ESPN, I'm pretty sure when you look up the standings, it's just
because that's it. I know the Big 10 got rid of the divisions and Big 12 got rid of divisions. So I wonder if they got 2. That's just the 2 best SEC teams now play for the championship. So even so, but let's say Texas gets upset, and now that's automatically there for another SEC team to get in there. They're not. Texas isn't going to be out. Yeah, no divisions. Thank you, Hamster. I thought so. So they're like Texas isn't going to be knocked out. You know what I mean? If Oregon gets upset in the Big 10 title game by whoever they play, whether it's Indiana, Ohio State, whatever, Oregon's not going to be out of the playoff. So you're going to have these things where it's the other teams are still going to end up winning, and that's going to knock somebody else out.
Yeah.
And then that's still if everything goes according to plan up until then for these last couple weeks of the regular season, which we have no idea if that's going to happen. So I mean that's what I mean is like there's still so much to go over, but I have a feeling that if Ohio State loses to Indiana and it's close, Ohio State's not getting out. I think if Indiana loses, no matter what, I think they're out.
Yeah.
And that's just
they
have a weak schedule that hasn't done well. People are going to say, especially if they get blown out. There could be an argument made if it's a closer game, and maybe they'll be able to squeak in there as a number 11 at some point. But I think it's going to be very hard for them. That they would have Indiana still in there, even with a close loss to Ohio State. But I think Ohio State with a close loss, I think they're almost guaranteed still to be in a playoff. Now, if they get blown out by Indiana, now you start having the question of maybe we put in another SEC team over Ohio State. Maybe we start looking at a 2-loss Tennessee or a 2-loss Georgia, who's already, or a 2-loss Texas A&M, or maybe we look at that and put them in there instead of Ohio State. Because I think that's it. The only when you look at who's might jump or put somebody else in there, you're looking at either they're going to put in another SEC team or they're going to put another Big Ten team in there. Yeah. You're not getting more than one Big 12 team. The way the Big 12 is this year, you're not getting more than one Big 12 team.
But see, like, and that's what like is messed up because they're supposed to put the best teams in there,
right?
So maybe there's a second Big 12 team that's better than a SEC team. Or...
Have you watched the Big 12 this year? No, there's not.
No, I know, but I'm just saying I just don't like that thinking of we're going to put the best teams in there,
right?
But we need SEC in there and we need Big 10 in there. So we're going to only do.
Here's
one
the
Big
thing:
12.
who would you consider to be better, an SEC team with 2 losses or a Big 12 team with 2 losses?
Who would be better?
Yeah, just based on just saying there's a 2-loss SEC team and there's a 2-loss Big 12 team.
Conference.
Who would exactly, and that's what they're thinking, and that's what I'm saying. So when you look at it from that perspective, you look at strength of schedule, you look at strength of what do they call strength of wins or something, strength of whatever, and so you look at all those variables. You do the old eyeball test, how do I look at it? How does it see? And Hamster, I think, is 100% right in the chat. He says this weekend is Indiana's playoff game, 1,000%. Again, like if Indiana wins at the Horseshoe, I think that even if they go to the Big Ten championship game and then lose, they're still in. I think whoever goes to either the SEC or to the Big Ten championship game, even if you're the runner-up, even if you lose that game, I still think you're in. So let's say Texas ends up playing Texas A&M in the championship game, or Alabama, or Georgia, or whoever comes out of the SEC as Texas rival. I think whoever plays them, both of those teams will be in. Same with the Big Ten. Whoever the 2 Big Ten teams in the championship game are, they're in. So you have to look at those are 4 spots that are going to be right there. 2 automatics and 2 at-larges right there.
Yeah.
So then you have to look at all the other ones and the rest. I think, and I think those are again the only 2 conferences where that pertains to.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see how this hammers out. And again, this weekend I think is going to be fun, exciting. Yes, now, Hamster. The Boise turf is still blue. Yes.
Is the Ohio State Indiana game a night game, afternoon game?
I would hope it's like a 3:30 game. Let me see. It's probably a night game.
Because I already got the laptop ready for the Notre Dame game, the tablet for the BKFC.
What time is the Notre Dame game, by the way?
At 7:30.
It is. It's a night game. Okay.
Yeah.
Indiana versus Ohio State is a fucking big noon kickoff. Are you fucking kidding me?
Wow.
Are you fucking kidding me?
They've been messing that up all season.
Wow. You can't fucking change it, huh, guys? Wow.
That's what's messed up too. They had a week's notice, or they knew at least a week in advance. This is a lot of
because Indiana had a bye week last week, so you knew this was going to be
a big game. And then if you look at Notre Dame, they came out today and said the USC game next week is either going to be a 3:30, 7, or 7:30 game. There's no time set just yet.
Well, yeah, they're out on the fucking West Coast anyway, so it's usually later.
But depending on what happens this weekend with us, if we lose, then it's moot point.
Yeah, who gives a shit? Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be a 3:30 game, but yeah, that should not be a noon game.
Hamster says I don't want to wait all day, but Hamster, I've been waiting all day for Saturday night. I know it's changing it up there on Kerry a little bit there, but I've been waiting all day for Saturday night. Listen, that'd be better than fucking Fall Out Boy there, that's for sure.
I like the comment by Hamster. The Giants might be the 12th seed.
Fuck no. The Giants. Listen, the Giants couldn't beat Bayonne fucking high school at this point, Hamster. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. And by the way, if you're watching along with us, the chat room is open. You can go and say hi, say hello, say how you doing. Again, if anybody out there has any evidence of where this good coaching that Brian Daboll's been doing, please come let us know either in the live chat or once this is the live is over. If you want to go and make a comment and tell me where fucking Brian Daboll is, this football genius, let me know. By the way, if you are liking what you're watching, please hit that like button. It helps us out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. If you want to help us out a little bit more tangibly with a little bit of donations, again, it would help us out tremendously. We have a link for our donation station in the top of this live chat. And again, if you're watching us after the live is done, we have that same link in the description right below this video. Same for our merch store as well. So thank you all so very much for watching us here at Stay Tuned Sports. But yeah, so I mean, I'm interested to see how this goes. And I agree with Hamster. I know he made the point up here before. Let me see. I know he said it somewhere. Yeah, right here. Hamster said the playoffs ratings are going to smash the NFL in that early January.
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to be interested. It's going to be real interesting to get those first numbers and to see where they go, because that you're going to be going like kind of head to head here with the NFL. Now it's going to be later on in the NFL season when these playoffs are going on. So you might have some games with the NFL that are like, matchups are bad. Even with the flex scheduling, it's like, all right, whatever. But if you get like an Alabama visiting Notre Dame, and they're gonna have like Bengals versus fucking Carolina or some shit on Saturday. It's gonna be like, listen, I love the NFL, but are you fucking kidding me? Like, yeah, of course I'm gonna watch that. Georgia at Penn State, Ole Miss at Indiana, like those like. And kind of notice that all of those are fucking SEC Big Ten matchups.
Yeah.
The only one that's not is BYU going to Ohio State. It's the only one that's not. The other ones are, and Alabama, Notre Dame. Notre Dame, yeah. Listen, and I've been an advocate of Notre Dame staying independent for a very long time. I do like the fact that Notre Dame stays independent. I have been a proponent of that for my whole life. I'm kind of getting to the point of just join the fucking Big Ten, will you? Just rip the fucking Band-Aid off. Like, we're getting to the point. Again, I would like to see it.
See, I'm opposite.
I would like to see it spread out to, like I said, I have that plan that I kind of modified from that college football tomorrow consortium, where you have the 8 divisions and there's a 1 promotion relegation division, and you put all the college teams in each one based on region, and then the champions from those divisions get automatically bid, and then you have 8 at-large bids and da-da-da-da-da-da. I love that idea. But again, that would involve Notre Dame being in one of those divisions, which would basically be being in a conference. It's coming. It has to be there. And now here's the thing, is now there's a tangible detriment to Notre Dame for not being in a conference.
Yeah.
And that is that they cannot get a top seed. It's verboten to them. No matter how well they do, they can go undefeated, they can do whatever they want. They can't get a top 4 seed. That is now a tangible punishment for refusing to be in a conference.
But also, we technically get a bye. We don't have to play a conference game, so
that's very true. That's very true.
Relax.
But you also do have to play more games to get to a title game. So where do you want your bye? Do you want your bye before you have to go, play a first round, a second round, a third round, and then the championship game? Or would you rather play in a championship game, and let's face facts, if you're Notre Dame and you're in the Big Ten, if you get in a championship game, whether you win or lose, you're going to be fucking going to the playoffs anyway. Yeah. But let's say you win that, and then you get to be one of the top 4 seeds. Now, you play that 13th game, but now you get to take a break, and then it's just win, quarterfinal, semifinal, and then it's where do you want the bye? Yeah. Do you want to have to win 4 games or 3 to win a championship? Is basically what it is. And again, I think I think college football needs a recalibration. And maybe again, like I said, I've been talking about making this video for like fucking 3 months now, but I'm getting itchy about it because I really need to fucking do it. Of just having you get the 8 divisions. Some are weaker, some are not, but I'm sorry, it doesn't matter. You get a central NIL pool that everybody gets to spend the same amount. Everybody gets all that, so there's nobody has a monetary advantage over anybody else. It's just a case of, do I want to play for this coach, or do I want to play in this school? Am I a legacy? Do I just like them better than them, or whatever it is? But all teams have the same amount. They can spend it and allocate it however they want to, but that is it.
Yeah.
And like I said, you get that promotion relegation division where all the teams from Division 1 that didn't make it and the rest of Division 2 or the championship subdivision, whatever, you can have the bottom half of that division gets relegated. The top half of the lower championship subdivision, they get to move up and do that. And then, of course, they get all the NIL money. They get all the, the big perks, stuff like that. I love that idea. Again, like I said, I got to flesh it out into a video, actually, and explain it better. But, again, I think the big problem with that in college football is always going to be the money.
Yeah.
Because you have to then renegotiate every television contract. You have to renegotiate, licensing deals and things like that. You have to get the conference fucking presidents to be like, you know what, you're right, I don't need this job. And to be put out, and that might be the easiest part of it. You can just take all the conference commissioners and stuff and say, okay, now instead of just being leaders of conferences, you are now, the board of directors of the college football encompassing league, whatever,
Yeah.
And you'll have that, and we'll make Sankey and whoever the fucking Big Ten leader is, like, though, you guys will be co-chairs of the board, but it's a whole that, so you guys still get jobs and still get McMillions and jerk each other off, whatever you do in these fucking meetings, I don't know, but you still have that, and you're able to work that. But the big thing's going to be the television contracts. Big thing's always going to be money, so it's going to be it's going to be some, but it has to happen. And I'm getting to the point now with Notre Dame. Like, I get it. And I do like that we have an independent schedule and we get to schedule whoever the fuck we want. But now you're talking about, the Big Ten has most of our fucking rivals in it.
Yeah.
And for the games that we don't, you can still schedule Stanford. You can still schedule Army and Navy if you want to. Outside of the conference schedule. But you're talking about Notre Dame is, you're going to be playing Purdue almost every year, which they do anyway. You get to play Michigan, which helps to liven that rivalry back up. You got USC. You can play USC again every year like you've done. There's not the detriment to it that there was.
Yeah.
So the only the detriment now is being independent because of that. The college football playoff has said, here's a punishment. So I don't like it, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, and Hamster says Rudy was offsides. Hey, Hamster, shut the fuck up. Don't disrespect Rudy.
That's strike 2. you can mute me. I'll ban him.
I don't know. Anything else of note happening, Jimbo? Anything else you want to talk about?
The only other thing I want to personally bring up is if anybody's going to the BKFC event in Philly, make sure you comment down in the comment section. Let me know because I'm going.
Oh, yes. I did see you were very excited. You got your BKFC ticks.
I already got the hotel.
You get to go see a bunch of people beat the fucking living shit out of each other.
Maybe get some blood split.
Yeah. Who doesn't like some communicable diseases getting splashed all over them? It's good stuff.
I'm so pumped. I've been waiting for this for 6 years. They started in 2018.
Yes,
and
yes.
Conor McGregor goes to all of them. I'll make sure I have my backup phone, try to take a picture of him so he smashes it, and then I'll be like, listen, I won't press charges. I just want an actual picture with you.
There you go.
And
who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah. But what else? Anything else?
I don't know. Devils are doing good. Devils are playing well.
Flyers are playing tonight.
That's good. That's good. Hopefully not at 10 o'clock at night out in west coast of Canada or the U.S. or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Ovechkin's out.
what's that? I did see. Yeah,
Ovechkin's out,
he got hurt in the dirty play. You son of a bitch. Bruins fired their head coach, who had one of the best records in the NHL over the last 3 years. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I guess
That's what I thought. Like when I saw he got fired, I'm like, I thought he was a good coach.
they got off to a slow start this year, but that's hardly his. All right. Again, doesn't make any sense to me, but. What does? What makes sense to me? Not much.
Yeah.
Not a lot. But again, I want to thank everybody for watching us here on Stay Tuned Sports. Again, if you like what you're watching, please hit that like button. Helps us out tremendously. If you're watching and are not subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. Helps us out, again, tremendously. On the road to 300, baby. We're getting there slowly but surely, and it is with your help, so thank you so very much. Again, if you want to help us out in a little more substantial fashion, we have the link for our donation station is in the description below this video, as well as our merch store link is below as well. The link for that. So and our Discord as well. Trying to do something in there. I don't know. We're trying to figure something out. So go in there, cause a ruckus, do something. Right now, there's nobody in there, so you'd be yelling on a brick wall. But I'd like to see it. That would be entertaining.
Yeah.
Seeing somebody just yell randomly in our Discord would be fun. So, but thank you all so very much for watching us here on Stay Tuned Sports. We're going to be back tomorrow.
Wait.
Oh,
we got to do our picks.
Oh yeah, shit. I was just gonna say we're doing the game tomorrow, and it's like, oh yeah, well, we should probably do that. So it is the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Cleveland Browns. Do we have to spend that much time on this one?
No.
Pittsburgh Steelers, everybody. I think that's and Jimbo, I believe, is going to pick the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. So that seems to be a little cut and dry. That's the last piece of business. If there is no more business to attend to, I will adjourn this meeting until next Wednesday for the next episode of the flagship Stay Tuned Sports. But we will see you, of course, tomorrow for Thursday Night Football when the Steelers do take on the Browns. For your good friend Jimbo right over there, I'm your boy King. Adios, everybody. Have yourself a great Wednesday.